Are you ready for a gaming article so unbelievably out of touch and stupid that even IGN and PC Gamer wish that they came up with this one? Xbox just killed its shot at making the next Baldur's Gate 3. That's right, big things are happening and none of us knew. Turns out there was a Baldur's Gate 3 grand, perfect experience just waiting for us. And Xbox decided to cancel it. The absolute horror. Obsidian has a superpower. Wait, Obsidian? A superpower any publisher would kill to have right now. Wait a minute. Obsidian? What? A superpower? Wait, what kind of super Mero? Giovannio! Are you gonna explain to us? No, wait, actually, you can't say anything negative about Giovannio. He's just a poor Italiano immigrant from Kentucky. Or, mozzarella. We can't be too hard on him a little bit, okay, here, boys. Understand, he's doing his best. Life is not easy. Anyway, this week, Xbox announced a sweeping overhaul of its businesses. That will see companies cutting 3,200 total jobs by next summer. Scary. That decision has already led to catastrophic results for studios under Xbox that have reportedly been gutted, including Doom developer id Software. Absolutely deserved. Obsidian Entertainment especially took a hit, as part of its first layoff wave, losing 25% of its staff amid major shakeups in in studio's direction. Wait. So id Software has lost more than 50% of its staff, but poor old Obsidian took 25%, and that's even worse? Oh, wow, this article is truly special, is it not? According to Bloomberg's report, the remaining team has been taken with making a new with making a new Fallout game as Xbox tightens its focus on its biggest IP. As a result, that directive reportedly means the team will be pushing aside some projects that it was working on, including a sequel to 2025's Avowed. Wow, boys, we're not getting a sequel to Avowed. I know. Me and roughly maybe more, 5 more people are devastated by this news, but it happens. As with everything surrounding Xbox at the moment, the details are hazy. Some reports note that the team intends to keep tinkering with the project in the background, which no one allowed them to. And by the way, this has kind of been confirmed that the people at Obsidian are still working on Avowed while the Fallout thing is not fully fleshed out. What's gonna happen? Even though no one allowed them to, but Obsidian just is built different. Okay, they don't care about what their bosses say. Okay, they want to create the next Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, and I know Avowed looks horrible, absolutely devastatingly poor, and no one liked it and no one loved it. I mean, this is literally from the mega fans, and this didn't even get an 80% like ratio. That is just sad. The game literally died in roughly 12 to 24 hours. Don't remember which one it was, but it did not last, okay? It was a fast one, okay? And it only got 19.2k peak players on Steam. Lamau. Yeah. And this thing, the sequel to this absolute glorious bonanza, was obviously going to be as big, as good as Baldur's Gate 3. Man, honestly, we do not hate games journalists enough, do we? Unironically, like this guy unironically thinks that Avowed somehow was gonna be the next Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian. Oh man, absolutely insane. With hopes of repitching it eventually. But all signs indicate that it's not a priority for Microsoft right now. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because this they literally admitted. I missed when they admitted this, but they have officially admitted that Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2 were complete disasters, by the way. It's disappointing to think that the team may not get a shot at Avowed 2. Opinions may vary. After building such a sturdy foundation that begged to be reinforced, if you make a sturdy foundation, that means you don't need to reinforce it. Like, why are we? Why is some dude who probably doesn't know how to use a hammer, hold a hammer properly, I should say, and knows how to nail in a nail, using metaphors about construction. That's pretty odd. Even more frustrating, though, is that Xbox seems all too ready to squander the world Avowed built. Avowed is built on as the worst possible at the worst on at the worst possible moment. I don't think I have ever seen someone write on at the worst possible moment. That's wild, okay? Boys, the great world of Avowed. This absolute pleasure. This absolute open. This why is it bugged now? This absolute majestic thing where not a single NPC even walks is gonna get squandered. My God, my God, it's just a disaster. You see this? Yeah, it's lost. I, maybe we need game journalists. Though Avowed was the start of a new series in 2025, the RPG actually existed within Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity universe. Introduced in 2015, Pillars of Eternity, the series centers around the fictional world of Eora. In many ways, Eora is a standard high fantasy realm, but one plagued with supernatural phenomena and religious conflicts. The most fascinating detail about the universe is it doesn't have true gods; rather, it has artificial ones created by an ancient race of engineers. A sense of moral order. To race by an ancient race to engineer a sense of moral order. That juicy idea sets it apart from your typical Dungeons and Dragons universe. Yes, so unique. I mean, the overview doesn't matter. The details make a good role-playing universe. That's the reality of this. That premise made for a killer CRPG. Pillars of Eternity launched to okay, this is about Pillars of Eternity. The series seemed to go quiet when Microsoft acquired Obsidian back in 2018. It's been a long time, huh? As the studio worked on games like The Outer Worlds and Grounded, it finally remembered in 2025 with about re-emerged in 2025 with Avowed, which told a new story in the order centered around a deadly plague. Though the RPG compact score was polarizing to those who were expecting a dizzyingly vast open world to rival Elder Scrolls. To be fair, Avowed was actually kind of almost sold as something to rival Elder Scrolls, so this was a disappointment for many people, by the way. Well, needless to say, the fact that Avowed is literally dead and Xbox has completely abandoned it for very obvious reasons. Yeah, I mean, this is not surprising. But again, this is Baldur's Gate 3, okay? This is another massive success. Literally tens of millions of sales. And Microsoft somehow abandoned this. Oh no. Avowed served as an excellent introduction to an intimidating CRPG universe. It felt like Pillars of Eternity was pointing for a mainstream poised for a mainstream moment that Xbox could build on. Like, where are we where is this scope even coming from? This whole article is like, guys, listen. Avowed is gonna be the next big thing. Now, to be fair, this is not that surprising that someone unironically thinks that, because I would like to remind everyone that we live on the Concordian timeline. And in the Concordian timeline which we live on, I will remind everyone again, Concord, Firebox Studios, the studio that made it, sold itself for 200 million, and then Concord for 200 million to Sony, and somehow gaslit them into believing that it's gonna be bigger than GTA 6. I'm not kidding, by the way. If you did not know that the CEO of the studio that made Concord somehow gaslit the executives at Sony so hard that they lost 400 million on that thing because they thought it's gonna be the next Call of Duty and GTA 6. And by the way, that's also a thing that they literally said and believed. That it's gonna be the next Call of Duty. That this thing is gonna be bigger than Call of Duty. Concord, for God's sakes. That no longer seems to be the plan, considering that Obsidian is now reportedly working on the new Fallout game. There was a time when that decision would have seemed sensible, if not inevitable. CRPGs can be a niche genre for PC enthusiasts, not so much something built for Xbox Series X owners. What the fuck? Like, what is this type of thinking? You can't play a CRPG on console? Bro, you can literally just move the mouse with the stick and then press X to select. Like, where's the problem in that? I'm sorry, but where is the problem in like? On paper, it makes more business sense to pass a very popular IP. Pillars of Eternity is a known IP, but it's not exactly popular. To the team that arguably created the most revered Fallout game, New Vegas. Well, it's not arguable. Everyone knows that Fallout New Vegas is the most popular Fallout game. Xbox timing feels it entirely off. So in 2023, with Baldurs Gate 3, Larian Studios proved that there is still a major hunger for CRPGs. The award-winning game helped more players discover the joys of a dense, choice-driven adventure set in a fleshed-out fantasy universe. Do you think this guy has played Baldur's Gate 3 and Avowed or The Outer Worlds 2? Because it doesn't seem like it. Baldur's Gate 3 is known for making choices that matter, choices that impact things. You know what The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed is known for? The exact opposite. The biggest choice you can make in The Outer Worlds 2, for example, is, do you want to open the door with your arms because you're strong, or do you want to like blow it up or fix it through a terminal or some shit? That's it. That's it. There are no meaningful choices in Avowed or The Outer Worlds 2. Obsidian doesn't do meaningful. There was not a single choice. So the fact that this guy is unironically somehow comparing the Baldur's Gate 3 with Avowed is fucking mind-blowing. You could compare it to Pillars of Eternity, I guess, to a degree, though I don't actually know how far the choice-making there extends, but I know that Pillars of Eternity was something that CRPG fans really enjoyed. But again, it wasn't the smash hit as Baldur's Gate 3, it was way more hardcore. Few games have tried to capitalize on its success in the following years. Wizards of the Coast are trying to make a Baldur's Gate 4, and if you know anything about Wizards of the Coast, you know how absolutely devastatingly bad that sounds. I mean, Wizards of the Coast is the company that made a Lord of the Rings expansion for their card game Magic the Gathering, and they made them black. That's right. Everyone except the Easterlings is pretty much black. That's hilarious, I know. And the Omega sad one. Shit, it's just so bad. It's just unbelievable, honestly. Yeah, that's Wizards of the Coast, and it gets a lot worse. Like Wizards of the Coast, I could talk about them for a very long time about all the things that they have done. It's pretty insane. But that's because few studios have the means to do so. Even Hasbro. Oh, Wizards of the Coast is Hasbro owned, by the way, which controls the IP, which controls the IP by Wizards of the Coast is struggling to find studios that is willing to make Baldur's Gate 4. And by the way, Wizards is just doing this because they want to ride off the laurels of Baldur's Gate 3. This is not exactly new news. They wanted the director of Dragon Age the Veil God at one point to be the head of this new studio that they create for this specific project. Can you imagine how bad that would end? A person who was in charge, Kathleen Bush or whatever the name was, don't remember that. Yeah, it would not have ended good. But then again, nothing Wizards of the Coast sends good. Building an egregious universe that can fill a giant RPG isn't something that happens overnight. It requires talented team that can build a world and construct a reactive game around it where your choices feel like they have an impact on everything around you. Yeah, exactly. Which are the things that Obsidian haven't done with Avowed. Obsidian is the rare studio that had all the tools needed to build the game. A strong sense of world building, surely. Dude, do you know how bad the world building of Avowed is? And subsequently also the other worlds. Look at this. We got some things, okay? Okay, you see this grass? This grass grows in the desert, in the hills, everywhere. It grows everywhere. They can't make a world for shit. Let's find something that has, okay, more grass. Let's find something that isn't grass. For example, I can't believe it's so hard to find anything. But there are so many problems with Avowed. Because plants that you find in caves are also underwater, in the sunlight, on mountain peaks, everywhere. Like they cannot make a world for shit. Yeah, you see, for example, these things. These things are growing in water. They're growing on trees. They're growing in caves. They're growing on peaks. They're growing on the sand in the desert. They're growing everywhere. The world of Avowed looks like an absolutely unreasonable mess. Yeah, look at this also. The same thing. Now, they're a little bit magical, so I guess there's slightly an excuse there, I guess. But it just makes the world cheap and stupid. That's pretty much Avowed for you. It is extremely sad to say the least. In any case, Avowed's a disaster. Obsidian doesn't have it, and the cope that we just lost Baldur's Gate 3 level game is just absolutely inhumane. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.